How's it going, Borderlands community? Today we're going to be going over the different gun brands in Borderlands 3 that we know about. There's a couple of them that we know are going to be in the game. We speculatively think they're going to be in the game, but we're not 100% sure. But here are currently all the brands we know for sure are in the game because we've seen them through gameplay. You can see these gun brands, on the stream that they did. Different people streamed this as well. We've seen these different gun brands in previous games before as well, and a lot of them do similar things. They're not super different compared to what they used to do before. A lot of them I found do extra things, if anything, while keeping the same old stuff. Hyperion is a good example. We'll go over that here in a minute, but we're just going to go through all these, starting off with Vladoff. And Vladoff is kind of like the Russian-looking one. They got the star there. It's very similar to Jacobs, but Jacobs is more old-school-looking military, while Vladoff is like kind of chromy, like futuristic tech, I would say, more modern, I would say. I meant these rapid-firing, ammo-hungry guns with underbarrel attachments including tasers, rocket tubes, and additional gun barrels. So you can see here on these guns, this one right here, it looks like a sniper of some sort with a rocket at the bottom. That's pretty dope because you can switch back and forth. It consumes the same ammo you have. Switching to your rocket might consume like 10 bullets to shoot the rocket, while the sniper consumes just one bullet. It's standard firing mode. Looks like this one might have like a laser or something like it attached. It looks like a silencer, but I don't think that you'd use a silencer in Borderlands. That just sounds weird. This might be a taser or some small rocket or something like that. This one has something as well. It might shoot like grenades out. This one has some different stuff here. So they have rapid firing modes. It sounds like these guns take a lot of damage. They shoot a lot of bullets, so a pretty unique gun brand there. Moving on, we have the toggle between alternative fire modes depending on your playstyle, your predicament, and your predilection for bonus damage. We had seen footage of this within the stream. These are the guns that switch to alternative fire modes. They have like semi-automatic, fully automatic, burst fire. You have quad burst, 5 bursts. I imagine we'll have a bunch of different, shooting styles, which is pretty cool because you can change, your gun from shooting just one bullet to being burst fire or something like that, doing a little bit more damage than normal. Moving on to Torg. If you guys have played the Torg games, they deal big explosive damage, which is what they typically do. In Borderlands 3, however, you're actually able to switch between a regular projectile to a sticky projectile firing mode. Stickies do more damage, but if bunched to them, they will donate on the same target. So it sounds like you can shoot multiple sticky explosive objects onto enemies and have them explode, which is pretty dope because there's always been a complaint of mine with shooting the Torg weapons. I'm always shooting them a bunch and I end up damaging myself and killing myself because they're like that. But it sounds like now you can actually switch to a sticky projectile fire, stick them to someone, then trigger to blow them up, which is nice because I won't be trying to shoot that psycho in the face when he's 2 feet in front of me and I end up killing myself. Alright, TDR. Toss your gun like a grenade to reload, then watch it pursue nearby enemies as a fully loaded version of destructs in your hands. So this was the guns with the legs that we saw previously within, I think, the very first Borderlands 3 trailer. These are the guns in Borderlands 2 you would just throw and they'd blow up on impact. But now, instead of just throwing them and blowing them up, you throw them, they actually walk around and shoot themselves. I've seen people throw it and it turns into like this, spear bubble thing, and it bounces around and shoots and kills enemy, which is pretty interesting. I definitely can see them doing a lot of crazy things with these TDR guns, and I cannot wait to get a hold of them. Moving on, we have Cult of the Vault. So Cult of the Vault is the new kind of enemy in a way, but it's still kind of like the bandit weapons in some regards. But it deals with infinite ammo magazines. Enjoy uninterrupted firing or damage dealing courtesy of infinite ammo magazines, occasionally interrupted with unpredictable overheating. So basically, you see the squirt gun come out and it shoots the squirt gun onto the gun and then like cools down the weapon itself. So basically, these guns have unlimited firing. They look like they're built together with random parts and stuff like that. The bandit type weapon that was taken out of Borderlands 2 is kind of being replaced with this because it's the psychos and different kind of off-wielder people seem to be just like crafting these guns out of nowhere, which might be why they have unlimited ammo. They're just trying to shoot and shoot and shoot as much as they can, but they unfortunately do overheat. like I said, I've seen different animations for what it looks like for when they overheat. Some of them pull out the little squirt gun and do that. Some of them just have a natural cooldown where you just have to wait a couple of seconds till you can start shooting them again. I could see these being really cool, but I don't know if cooldown rate is a stat that you can like have your skills in the game change. Like maybe have like a thing that cooldown rate on guns, you know, -5% or something like that. Something to change that up, I think would be really cool. I'm wondering if they will, you know, have that be a stat in game that we can, you know, tamper with our upgrades and skills and stuff like that. Moving on to Hyperion, these guns are the ones that I'd say it took like no change. I mean, these practically look like Borderlands 2 guns here. The rest of these do look a little bit different. Jacob's looks, you know, pretty similar. But Hyperion ones look very, very similar to the other guns in like Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1, a little bit. Big jump from Borderlands 1 to 2, so not a lot of guns look the same there. Into the sights and take cover behind your weapon-mounted shield. So that's the new thing Hyperion weapons have. They now have a shield attached to them. Keep your finger on the trigger for increased accuracy. So as you shoot, the accuracy does increase, just like in Borderlands 2, but in this game, you get that little shield for that extra little bonus of coverage. I'm not sure how much it's going to help, considering, you know, you're just aiming down the gun there. How big is the shield? If the shield is big enough to cover your whole body, then you're probably okay. But it's more than likely just going to be the upper body or face or something like that. I'm not sure where the AI is meant to track in this game. Especially with explosives, they're just blowing up around you, so you're probably going to get hurt from that regardless. But I'm glad the Hyperion got that little shield bonus, because I knew a lot of Hyperion guns in Borderlands 2. I was kind of just like, it's just accuracy. That's literally the only thing added onto this, which, you know, accuracy is good and all, but when you have a gun that shoots 1 billion bullets, sometimes accuracy just doesn't even matter, because you just know you're going to hit them regardless eventually. Moving on to Atlas, I don't think these guns were in Borderlands 2. I'm trying to remember if that's true or not. I have the wiki up, we're going to look at that. Step 1, hit your enemies with a tracker tag. Step 2, unleash hail of smart bullets that track towards your targets. Step 3, loot. So basically, you can have, these guns are wrist weapons. They attach to your wrist, and you kind of just shoot them out. But you shoot out a little dart, and the dart hits the enemy, and no matter where you shoot at from, the bullet goes in the air and tracks and hits exactly where the tracker thing that you sent was. I'm not sure how many trackers you can send out at one time, maybe just one. I don't think there's any alternative firing modes or switching modes in this, but these Atlas guns actually look pretty cool, and aesthetically, they're the only ones that are like different. It's you know, attached to your wrist. It's actually different. I wonder if you can actually dual wield these guns, because technically you can have one on each wrist. You're only shooting with the one hand, it looks like. I have seen some footage though where it looks like somebody's holding it in the hand and using the other hand to grab it, so maybe they won't do that, because some of them might actually need, you know, the second hand to wield them. But hopefully we can see some cool designs with this. I can see this being really, really cool if you can shoot out like multiple like tracker darts and shoot multiple enemies at one time. I think that'd be a really cool design. Alright, Malian. So Malian from the past games, even since Borderlands 1, have been super big with like elemental type effects. You know, they've always been the best guns for when, you know, you want to deal a lot of fire damage, a lot of shock damage. I remember picking up like level 3 or 4 corrosive weapons in Borderlands 1 with Malian guns, and they were always super great. But in this game, Borderlands 3, toggle between 2 elements, charge your weapon and deal guaranteed elemental damage with your finger glued to the trigger. So it says guaranteed elemental damage. I don't think it's an elemental chance in this game. In Borderlands 2, it was, you know, it's like a 30% chance the bullet will be the element. It says in this, it is guaranteed elemental damage. So I wonder if they changed it. Maybe there's no more elemental chance or chance effect or whatever. Instead, it's just a normal stat. It's that much damage in fire, that much damage in shock or corrosive or whatever. Maybe they changed it, because this game now has nuclear. I wonder if they, you know, maybe did a rebalancing of the elements and tried to figure out how to scale it out to where they didn't have to have the elemental effect chance stat in this game. I didn't see any of it. I don't believe. I'm not too sure. It didn't look to me like there was any of that in the game, but it sounds like Malian is guaranteed. So I bet you could find, fire, Jacob's guns or Atlas guns or whatever, these different guns that you might be able to find some elemental effects to them, but they might not be guaranteed like Malian is. And Malian also lets you charge your weapon, so you actually hold in a big shot and blast it out, dealing a lot of elemental damage, and you can toggle between 2 elements, which is super dope. That's one of the things that they put into this game that I really, really love. I'm so glad that we can just toggle between the weapon elemental things. It's honestly really cool, because I know for sure I'm a guy who actually takes advantage of the different elemental types. If someone has a shield, I'll shoot a bunch of shock damage into them, and then I'll switch to my gun that has fire. But sometimes switching around ends up getting me killed, or especially if it's a boss fight, sometimes it gets me killed, it gets me down, it makes me lose a lot of health and forces me to use my action skill or something like that. This is really cool, especially if you can switch between shock and fire. You can use shock, damage someone's shield. If they're like a psycho or something like that, you can switch to your fire element and just burn them down, because flesh, gets burned easily, and that's the element's, thing that's supposed to be attacking is flesh, and you get the shield. It's a really good way to make fights easier if you are the type of guy who likes to take advantage of the different elemental effects in the Borderlands games. Moving over to Jacobs. So Jacobs are supposed to be like the old school military looking guns. I didn't see a lot of gameplay for this, if any. I don't really know. I'm not sure what all guns people got to pick up, but I don't think I saw any of these here. Deliver devastating critical hits to enemies, soft and sensitives. Then enjoy puke all your bullets, ricochet towards other targets. So there's a ricochet bonus kind of deal with the Jacobs weapons. And it sounds to me like you can shoot a bunch of your ammo at once, or just kind of shoot one at a time for critical hits. So you can be very critical with these guns, or just blast a lot away, kind of like the shotgun here. This looks like a shotgun as well, or an action rifle, something like that. So basically you're choosing between 2 sides of a coin. Really precise, critical, 1 bullet at a time, or a bunch of bullets at one time, and you're just kind of spinning it all out at once, which to me sounds really cool. And the ricochet thing is pretty cool as well. I would love to see that. I think a shield kind of does something similar to that, and she ricochets the bullets and stuff like that. And that was a pretty cool, little thing that they put to her shield to allow her to do that. I'd love to see, to what extent the ricochet does, and what they mean by joy puke. All your bullets ricochet towards other targets. I'd like to see what exactly that looks like as we get other guns. I can definitely see some of these legendaries for some of these guns going to really, really far extremes and doing a lot of different things. We're just going to have to see. We haven't seen a lot of legendaries. From what we know, people were spawning in guns during the stream events and things like that. The different streams that Borderlands has let it go along, but not a lot of them got a ton of legendaries, but we have seen a couple of them. I'm going to move over to the wiki here. So Borderlands 1 had Atlas, the Hall, Iridian, Hyperion, Jacobs, Malian, SNS Munitions, TDR Torg, Vladoff. So there's some things here. There's a couple things that aren't within the game. Iridian, technically, we do not see that here. There's no Iridian weapons. And there's also no SNS Munitions weapons here at all either. And I can kind of see why they changed that up, because the Iridian weapons are basically just the alien weapons, and there's only a couple of them in Borderlands 1 anyway, so I could see how they're just kind of like, okay, we don't really need this, especially with Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 changed it up a good bit, and you didn't necessarily need the Iridian weapons anymore because they have the Iridian weapons now. It's a little bit different. They had the Iridian weapons which shot, basically the lasers and different, crap like that. The wiki doesn't actually show it here, but, basically that's what it did. The wiki is pretty cool because it shows a lot of different, the gun brands and stuff like that. SNS Munitions, I don't really know if there's any lore behind that, why they're not a thing anymore. That's a gun brand to look after. In the Borderlands universe, it looks like a lot of them are fighting each other to, gain planets, stuff like that. I mean, Atlas and, the Atlas company's been at war multiple times already. So you can definitely see maybe SNS Munitions went under at some point and kind of just lost everything. I mean, even in Borderlands 3, Malian and Atlas are at war currently. So it'll be cool to see how that plays out and if it changes anything at all. And Gearbox is another thing as well. Gearbox are like the, legendary weapons basically that you kind of usually just get for free. Borderlands being created by Gearbox, you can see those are just kind of meant for fun things. I don't think in universe or in lore of Borderlands Gearbox technically is there. I think that's just kind of like the game just kind of having a poke, kind of breaking the third wall as well. Another thing is Ashin and Pangolin. So let's go down here. We can go to the Borderlands 3 guns. So we have Ashin, Atlas, Cove. I'm going to call it Cove. That's Children of the Vault. The Hall, Iridian. So Iridian's technically back. Hyperion, Jacobs, Malian, Pangolin, Tedior, Torg, Vladoff. So we have Pangolin and Ashin. You may know what those are. Those are guns that we have seen in Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1. We've seen them in the past Borderlands. They dealt with shields. Here's some of the different gun brands, the pictures we just seen. They dealt with shields. The different shields did different things. Like, I think Ashin gave you more health or had health regeneration. Some of them gave you, shield boosts, different stuff like that. So I don't know if they are making guns. They look to me just like health things. Pangolin and Ashin. They might be making guns in this game. It's hard to tell. I don't actually know. We don't have any news on that at all. We have not seen any of the Iridian weapons, but the wiki, the people seem to put those in here as guns. I want to see what the Iridian weapons look like, and if they do look like Borderlands 1-esque looking guns. If that's true, then we're going to be seeing some really wacky guns. And it makes sense because there's Iridian weapons in Borderlands 1. Borderlands 2, not really. It's like kind of. People found Iridium and made Iridium weapons, but the Iridian guns is what the actual race of Iridian people used. So why couldn't we find their guns now at all in Borderlands 2? It could have just been where we are in the continent. Maybe there's just not Iridian people around. There's none of them to even kill because it was pretty rare to even find these people in Borderlands 1 to begin with. We had to go to pretty far lengths to find them in the first place, and then eventually finding the vault after that. But hopefully we'll hear more news about these guns, gun developers, manufacturers, brands, whatever you want to call them. But I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Had fun going over all the different guns. I am excited to see what all they're going to do, and what craziness we'll get into, especially with the legendaries. The legendaries are going to take massive advantage. I think more advantage over the different manufacturers than before, because just how drastic. I think this game has the biggest differences within the actual gun brands and gun manufacturers. So we might be seeing some pretty crazy loadouts and pretty crazy things. Keep in mind, these different loadouts, these different gun manufacturers, probably going to affect the skills of our characters as well, and kind of shape the certain way that certain places might be. The Malian people, if we go there, we see them attacking Atlas. We might see the Malian people, be shooting big elemental weapons. So it's a good assumption to, see the different brands and, see how they shape the whole Borderlands universe. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you want more of these Borderlands videos, please like, comment, subscribe. My Twitch is down below. I'll be going over all of the Borderlands games, especially when Borderlands 3 comes out. I'll be streaming that. If you want to get free loot, follow me. And during my streams, anytime I unlock a chest, it also gives you some loot as well. It gives you a chance to get some loot because of the Twitch extension that Borderlands released. But thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.